When I was younger, quite a bit younger, maybe 18, 19, 20, despite studying psychology and being, I would like to think, a relatively smart person, I did not think there was any connection between the mind and the body. I had this view on life that was so insanely analytical. And don't ask me how that happened, being an ENFP, but I had this insanely analytical view about our actions, our decisions, and essentially how the body and the mind and all that came together. And to me, it was all up in the head. It was just thinking about make a decision, it's all logical. And of course, we all know that's not how the world works. That's not how people work. There is so much more complexity. And it took me many years of travel, of trial and error, of success, of failure, of relationships to figure out, no, that is not how people work. One of the most interesting parts of this to me is all the research showing that our behavior can actually change our thinking. That what we do can change what we feel about different things. So for example, if someone has a belief, like in their head, let's say, they are for whatever reason some kind of racist, and then their behavior changes because they end up assisting somebody of a different race, they're actually going to change their attitudes based on their actions. So because they behave in a different way, their attitudes will change. I thought this was really cool when I first learned this. I remember when I was back in Vancouver, I remember one day, this was when I was working as a mortgage planner many, many years ago. And I remember feeling really terrible. I'm not gonna use the word depression necessarily, but it was a few days where I was just feeling really like a lack of energy. I was feeling just down and I didn't like it. And in my head, I didn't understand why I was feeling that way. I was like, what is going on here, right? I was trying to think is it a life purpose issue? Is there someone I'm not happy with? Why do I feel this way? And I couldn't figure it out. So I decided to Forrest Gump it. And I literally got up. This was in the middle of the afternoon on a Tuesday. In the middle of the week, I got up and I just started to run. In Vancouver, if you don't know it, in the downtown area where I lived, it's surrounded by water. So you can run around basically the entire city. And that's what I did. We have this thing called the seawall. And I just started running and I kept running. And I think all in, I ended up running 18, 19 kilometers. Now I was not a distance runner. I did run usually on many days, but 3, 4, 5 kilometers. And I just kept running. And I think at the end of it, it was 3 hours, which is not a good time for any of you who run distance. But I basically told myself I was gonna run until I would feel good. And that's what happened. At the end of it, physically, I felt terrible. My joints hurt. I probably should have stretched or worn special shoes or something. But despite the physical negative feelings, mentally, emotionally, I actually felt good again. And it was ultimately just by going and running and changing my behavior. So I wanted to bring this up because us ENFPs, and if you're a subscriber of mine, you probably aren't necessarily an ENFP, but you fall into some kind of personality where we do a lot in our heads. We're very emotional, we're sometimes very intellectual, we think about the mind, and sometimes, and this isn't all of us by any means, but I have noticed a pattern of people of really separating the mind and the body, and sometimes looking at people who are fitness nuts and assuming they're not an intelligent person, they're just about fitness. Therefore, they can't be really intellectual or something. And I think from my own firsthand experience, this is really dangerous, that there is a massive connection between our mind and our body, between our actions and our attitudes. And in understanding this, we can sometimes find a great shortcut to making change. Because I'll tell you this, it's a lot easier in many ways to change what you do than change what you think. It's something we're all capable of. No matter how you feel, you can get up and go for a walk. You can get up and talk to a friend. And these sorts of actions can actually then change our emotions. They can change our attitudes. They can change how we think. And so the next time you're struggling with something and you find yourself kind of stuck up in your head, I want you to think about getting out of your head and think about doing instead of thinking. And just try that out and see how it works for you and let me know. Thank you for watching. If you're new here, my name is Dan and this is Dreams Around the World. My mission here is to help you become the best version of yourself, all while creating the most awesome life possible for you and those you love. So please do consider subscribing and hitting that bell. Thank you for watching. Catch you in another video soon.